Today on Provost Park Pass, we're going to be talking about all the cool things about Main Street, USA. There is a lot to cover in today's video, and I'll try to get to it all. There's so much to talk about on Main Street, USA. Most people don't realize that Main Street, USA is a land considered one of the 5 original lands on opening day of Disneyland. Right behind me is the Mickey Mouse floral pattern. It is one of the most photographed spots in the world. The flowers change with the season, and they change the flowers 7 to 8 times a year. When you first start walking in Disneyland through the gates of Main Street, you'll notice that the brick that you're walking on is red. Walt requested red brick. It made it feel like you're walking on a red carpet into a movie set. When you first come into Disneyland, you walk underneath the railroad, and you can see there's some posters along the wall here. These posters depict the original posters of attractions here at Disneyland Resort. Right as you enter into Main Street, in the center, you will see a flagpole, and at the base of that flagpole, you will see the speech that Walt Disney gave on opening day. Down Main Street, you'll see a lot of flags, though they're not real American flags. They have like one less star or one less stripe. That way, they don't have to lower the flags if some type of tragedy happens. The flag right behind me on the pole right here is the only real authentic flag that actually will be lowered. They have a flag retirement ceremony every day at 5 o'clock right here at the flagpole. Right here at the center of Main Street, USA, you'll see 2 cannons. These 2 cannons were used by the French Army in the early 1900s, though they were never fired. Right behind me is Disneyland City Hall. This is where you can go to get some pins, like for example, if you're having a birthday, an engagement, a first visit Disneyland, a honeymoon. Also, if you buy a package and ask them to store it for you, this is where you'll pick up your package at the end of the day, right here at City Hall. One other really cool thing about City Hall that most people don't know, if you have a really positive experience with a Disney cast member, come to City Hall at Guest Services and you can fill out a form and give them a compliment. That's a really cool thing you can do. So I am in the Disneyland Firehouse number 105. Right above me is Walt Disney's own personal apartment that he used to stay at when he would come to Disneyland. As you know, Walt was a very particularly ambitious person, and he would start his day with gusto. He would get up in his apartment and slide down this fire pole to start his day right here at Disneyland. The fire pole is actually sealed at the top now. The reason being, one day while Walt was in his apartment above me, a child climbed up the fire pole to say hi to him. Startled Walt, and at that point on they realized they need to seal up the fire pole. And when he would stay here at his apartment, he would leave a lamp on in the window to let other staff members know that he was here in the park. After Walt passed away, they now leave a light on in the window at all times as a memory and tribute to Walt Disney. Disneyland maximizes every inch of its park, and I'm here on Main Street right by the fire department, but do you want to know how close I am to Jungle Cruise? 35 feet. It's right through here. Main Street is the only land in Disneyland that has not been significantly altered in any way, shape, or form since opening day. Main Street, USA was inspired by Walt's hometown, Marceline, Missouri. But there's more to it than that. The main architect was working on Main Street, USA. His name was Harper Goff, and he grew up in Fort Collins, Colorado. He showed Walt what Fort Collins looked like at the turn of the century, some photos. Walt liked the idea, so they patterned Main Street, USA after Fort Collins, Colorado. Right behind me is the Disneyana gift shop. It hasn't always been a gift shop. It was first a Bank of America, a real working bank. Now the cool thing about this Bank of America, it was the only Bank of America that was opened on Sundays. In fact, when you go inside the Disneyana store, you can still see the safe that they used to store all the money in, keeping Jiminy and Mickey safe. Safe. They also have one of the old teller booths still standing. Main Street, USA is supposed to be around the time of 1910, just when new inventions were starting to mesh with old ones. That's why we have horse-drawn carriages and jalopies running around. Right behind me is the Magic Shop right here on Main Street. One of the most famous people who's ever worked in this magic shop, Steve Martin. Also, something you really want to look that most people don't see is you want to look up when you come in the magic store, because sometimes they do magic tricks and you get a card on the ceiling.
If I'm not mistaken, and I'm almost 100% sure, we're the only store left on Main Street with original interior. So all the wood, the flooring, the ceiling, the walls are the same. Alright, look, nothing about a little magic card. Snap my fingers and it flies.
What? Thank you, Johnny. On Main Street, you can see a Native American right here. He's been here since the beginning of 1955. The reason he's here is he represented where you can buy tobacco in Disneyland. In the 1950s, when Disneyland first opened, Hollywood portrayed smoking as very glamorous and in vogue. So you used to be able to buy tobacco and tobacco products all the way up until 1991 in Disneyland. Now, a lot of people, I wonder, why do you have a Native American to represent tobacco? It's because in the olden times, a lot of people are illiterate and they couldn't read. They associated a Native American with tobacco. He also has a twin located right there in Frontierland. Do you miss your twin? I bet you miss your twin. As you walk down Main Street, you're gonna see some gas lamps. These are real ironwork gas lamps. Most of them are over 150 years old. They found them in St. Louis. They were about to be destroyed, and they bought these gas lamps for 3 cents a pound. And you can still tell that they're from St. Louis because if you look at the base on most of them, they still say St. Louis Ironworks. 150 years old and bought for 3 cents a pound. That's a really good buy. As you walk down Main Street, you're gonna come to a fruit cart. That is the beginning of Center Street on Main Street. That takes you down another road called Center Street. That's right, we have a Center Street and a Main Street right here in Disneyland. Now, one of my favorite things is right down here on Center Street. Let's go check it out. When you walk down to the end of Center Street, you're gonna find a drinking fountain right here. When they were building Disneyland, they were running out of time and money, and they didn't know how they wanted to build certain things. So, right here, the architects, they built one side of the drinking fountain with straight bricks, and they built the other side with wavy, curvy bricks. This is one of the ways that they could tell what a wavy brick was gonna look like versus a straight brick. There wasn't enough time for them to change it after they built it, so they just left it, and it's been that way ever since opening day. One of the other really cool things about Center Street, if you listen carefully, you'll hear sounds and stories coming from the second floors. Piano lessons.
You saw the sign.
Sometimes you can hear him sleeping in the detective agency that never sleeps. Right here behind me is the Hotel Marceline. That's named after Walt's hometown in Missouri. They've converted it to a Starbucks, but there's a really cool thing you look at inside. These old phones, you can listen to old conversations. Do you want to see how tricky these Disney Imagineers are? They have thought of everything. If you walk down the sidewalk on Main Street, they have planted trees in such a way that it obscures the view of the castle, so your eyes drift into looking into the stores. If you want to see the castle, you have to walk in the street. One of the really innovative things about the stores here on Main Street is they're all connected. You can walk in one store and basically walk all the way to the end of Main Street, staying inside the stores, which is a good thing to know if you're ever on a day here at Disneyland when it's raining. When you walk down Main Street, you're gonna come across the Penny Arcade. And right inside, at the very entrance, is Esmeralda. You put in a quarter and she'll give you a fortune. The cool thing about Esmeralda, she's been here since opening day of Disneyland. Every day, working it, working it, working it. Everything in Disney has to be symmetrical, right? Everything. So, when you come down to the end of Main Street, you're gonna find the Coca-Cola corner, and there's some lights on the ceiling. It goes red, blue, red, whoa, see that again? There's some lights up on the ceiling, and they alternate going red, white, red, white, red, white. Well, there's an odd number of light bulbs, so there's no way they can keep alternating that pattern. Walt noticed this, and he told them to paint one of the bulbs half white, half red. You can see it right here. Only Disneyland would do that. As you come to the end of Main Street, right in front of the castle, you will become known as the Spoke or the Hub. The Hub is an ingenious design by Walt himself to allow people to come right into the heart of the park before they start to explore. It allows people to orient themselves to the park and make traveling to each different land super easy. You don't even think about those things when you're really designing it, do you? Like, oh yeah, let's put a ride here, a roller coaster here, and bam, we're good to go. Nope, not Disneyland. So right here at the top of Main Street, right by the photo supply company, if you turn right, you can walk down and you'll find a baby center. This is where young mothers can go to change the baby's diapers. Young fathers can do that as well. And you can also get all kinds of things you need for your baby. But there's something really cool about this baby center. Right when you walk in, on the left-hand side, there's an oval photo of a baby. That photo is Walt Disney himself as a baby. As you're walking down Main Street, you really feel that you're thrust right in the center of a main street. One of the ways they create that illusion is by what's called forced perspective. The buildings on the street level are about 7/8 to scale. On the second level, they're about 5/8 scale, and then on the top level, they're about half, making the buildings appear much, much taller than they really are. When you first get to the park early in the morning, listen to the music as you walk down Main Street. The music is upbeat, it's happy, it's peppy. It's to get people excited. As the day wears on though, the music gets a little bit softer and softer. So in the evening when you walk out, the music is playing a softer melodies, calming people down as they go home for the day. Most people know this. Be sure to check the second story windows. That's where they pay homage and honor people who have had a huge influence in Disney. For example, you can see Mark Davis and Alice Davis. You can also see Ron Dominguez, that's where they purchased the property from, that family. Look at the second floor and look at the names. Those are the people who are honored by Disney, who have the Disney spirit. If you have little ones who want to see a parade, the best place to come to, Main Street. Sit down and you cannot get a bad spot by sitting down a curb on Main Street to watch a parade. Oh, yes.
Oh, hi.
There they are. The Dapper Dans. They're amazing.
My little Margie, I'm always thinking of you, Margie.
The Dapper Dans have been performing in Disneyland since 1959. They do about 9 shows a day, 7 days a week. Now you can oftentimes see them riding a bicycle built for 4, designed by Walt Disney himself. They're up and down Main Street. Make sure you have a chance to see them. And then at Halloween time, so they sometimes come out as the Cadaver Dance. So today is March 21st, the day of this filming. They just laid some new brick down Main Street. It's only been open now for 3 days. They opened it on Tuesday. This new brick is amazing. Let's take a look at it. They put in sturdier rails for the horses to pull the carts, make it easier for the horses. Also, the brickwork they put in here, this new brickwork is a little bit softer on the horses' feet, keeping the horses the happiest horses on the planet. Another fun thing to do on Main Street is to see the Disneyland Marching Band. By the way, their most requested song they've ever had is, I forgot, Mickey Mouse March, of course. So let's do Main Street by the numbers. Are you ready? Here we go. There are 6 different attractions on Main Street. There are 4 different shows you can see on Main Street. There are 6 different dining locations and 17 different shops. There are over 100,000 light bulbs all over this buildings on Main Street. As you walk down Main Street, you're gonna see all kinds of hitching posts for where you're gonna hitch your horse. Most of them have a horse head on top of the post, except for whatever reason, when you come down here and right in front of the China Closet, their hitching post is just a post. There are 6 attractions on Main Street. There's the Omnibus, the Walt Disney Railroad, the old jalopy cars, the horse-drawn streetcar, great moments with Mr. Lincoln, and Steamboat Willie the Theater. Here we go.
Are we clear, Matt? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard the Disneyland Omnibus. My name is Ken. I'm going to be your driver. We're going to be hitting speeds upwards of 5 miles an hour. So you got to stay seated at all times with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside. Parents, supervise your children.
My parents are here, so we'll be okay though, I think.
All right, good. Now, folks, we're going by the Opera House on the right-hand side. They have great moments with Mr. Lincoln. That's a fantastic show.
I'm just spending my whole day on Main Street.
Are you?
Yeah, I love it. It's my
Okay.
favorite. If you ever want to escape the heat, you can come right here to Main Street Cinema and see 6 different movies that are playing at one time. They're always showing Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse's first appearance in a film. Something really cool to look at though is the mannequin who gives tickets. Her name is Tilly, and you look on her name badge, it shows where she's from. Let's go on in. Right now I'm on the Disneyland Railroad. Some Disneyland aficionados consider the Disneyland Railroad as an attraction just for Main Street, while others say no, it's an attraction for every land that it stops in. So no matter how you look at it though, it is an attraction on Main Street. The Disneyland Railroad debuted in 1955. It has carried over, are you ready for this? 287 million people since 1955, making it the ride that's carried more people and more passengers than any other attraction at any other Disneylands or any other rides at any park. There are 5 trains on the Disneyland Railroad. 5. First 4 engines were named after Santa Fe executives who sponsored the Disneyland ride. The 5th, the Ward Kimball, was named after an animator that worked closely with Walt Disney. I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering, well, how long does it take to go around, do a complete loop on the Disneyland Railroad? 20 minutes to do that. 20 minutes. Though when you ask the cast members, they'll usually tell you about 25 minutes because they don't know how long you're going to be at each station loading and unloading guests. So I'm walking in Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and inside you can find a piece of history of Disney that is super important to everybody. Walt was watching his two daughters on a merry-go-round at Griffith Park when he conceptualized the idea for Disneyland. And right inside this building is the actual park bench that Walt sat on when he came up with the idea for Disneyland. Okay, so I have two experts to talk about Mr. Lincoln, Stephanie and Kristen.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Mr. Lincoln then.
Walt Disney was a great admirer of Abraham Lincoln. So when it came time to make his first human audio animatronic, he chose Abraham Lincoln.
If you go up close to him, he is very lifelike. He has everything from the nose on his hair and his ear to the arms. It's very lifelike. He himself is a very expensive figure. Do you want to guess how much his head is? Just the head.
How much?
$8 million.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. So it's very, very pricey, but we do anything for Abe.
This is a great attraction, the Mr. Lincoln attraction. It's often overlooked here on Main Street, USA. Be sure to check it out. What's really cool about this building is it's the oldest building in Disneyland. From 1955 to 1961, it was used as a lumber mill, when then it was converted into the Opera House. Well, here I am on one of the famous horseless carriages here on Main Street, USA, Disneyland. I hope you guys have enjoyed Provost Park Pass this week. There's so much to talk about Main Street. It's wonderful, and there's so many things I didn't even have a chance to cover. Go ahead and hit this little button right up here and hit the subscribe button. And every week I post a new video on Provost Park Pass about all kinds of trivia and facts that you probably didn't know about the park. So, I am going to be getting to California Adventure. Thank you for all those requests. I will be getting to it very soon. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. I'll talk to you later.